Wealth Tactic Rebels, ingenious tactics to accumulate wealth for people who see things differently.
Welcome to a bonus episode with Wealth Tactic Rebels, the podcast for people who see things differently. I'm your host, Kevin Dumont, and I've been thinking differently in the wealth field for well over 10 years. And today's episode is a bonus. During the interview we had with Martin Smith, VP of Security Life Mutual of New York, I had hit record and recorded part of the conversation that we were having prior to his interview. Martin Smith is a very passionate person, and it really comes through in just about any discussion he has with anyone. So I think you'll enjoy this bonus episode, a bit of behind the scenes, really, with Martin Smith. Without further ado.
The funny thing that I do, or the things that I'm attracted to, the infinite banking concept, becoming your own banker, circle of wealth, wealth and wisdom, all these ideas really are based on people who are fed up with what's really happening in our normal financial society that we have.
Yeah.
We believe that we've been lied to, misled, misguided about money.
Sure.
So the interesting thing to me is I like Len Rainier of Wealth and Wisdom, who always says, when he introduces himself, he says, "I teach people how money works."
Right.
Now, I know that's a big topic to think about. And for me, just in my own personal life, I think it's taken me years, it's taken me decades to finally run into these ideas of circle of wealth and infinite banking that has led me to where I am financially today, which makes me feel secure, safe, working with certainty, working with guarantees. It's a very powerful difference in my own life personally and of course professionally, because I am a proselytizer. I like to go around saying, "Hey, I feel like I work for Nelson Nash and Infinite Banking and Don Blanton," who actually gave me a signed $5 bill saying thank you for working and promoting Circle of Wealth, and also for Len Rainier, because it's these ideas that I incorporate, and I'm always trying to get agents who I work with to look into these concepts to practice it. I always say, just say the words. Just say the words and see how people are going to react when you talk about, "Hey, I teach people how money works."
Yeah.
What you know today will determine where you will be financially 5 to 10 years from now. I mean, those are powerful statements. If I'm thinking of Circle of Wealth, it's this idea of I'm in the financial services industry with a very unique approach in that I help people find money that they're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily. When I say statements like that to clients or agents, people always say, "Wow, what do you mean? What are you talking about?" So
yeah, they never heard that.
They never heard it before, and that's the funny thing, because otherwise, if you look at the television or listen to people on the radio, what you're going to hear is, "Well, do this, do that." But again, everybody who listens, how many millionaires listen to Susie Orman? How many millionaires listen to Dave Ramsey? I mean,
right.
Obviously, nobody wants to be in debt, and it's a great service to talk about that. But again, those aren't the real steps that need to be taken in your own personal financial life in order to grow wealth.
Right.
And I think what's funny to me is that I was looking at this book and reading a little story, and it showed a graph of the person's, what their net worth was over, let's say, the last 10 years.
Sure.
And so depending on where you are in the market cycle, my wife always thought I was a genius when the market was up. When it was down, oh, that's a different story.
What are you doing?
So the idea would be you have sort of this crazy sine wave of going up and being down and then going back up and being down again. Obviously, the older you are, the more cycles that you've gone through.
Yep.
But then it was once I started actually owning policies using the banking concept, that I noticed from that point on, I've only gone up. My net worth has only increased and increased steadily because of what I've done and the products that I've purchased.
Yeah.
I mean, should I talk about the best financial product that's ever been created? Dividend paying whole life insurance? I mean, that really is my favorite. But,
everyone has their favorite club, right? And that's your background.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But definitely, we with the Wealth Tactic Rebels, we talk about avoiding losses. So, and what you're talking about is that as well. You've seen the positive effect that's had over time on your personal net worth, your personal wealth.
Yeah, it's true in that sense. And the funny thing about this is that obviously Nelson Nash and Don Blanton, they are Southerners there, and I am a student of the Civil War. So
that's right.
So I do enjoy thinking about that. But sure enough, again, it's this ability to look at what you're doing and to say, hey, what I've done is incorrect.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I came across this idea of becoming your own banker. And I had read through it, and I remember distinctly getting home from a conference after being there, being exposed to it, and then, of course, reading the book even before I got home and speaking with my wife. And she can say it literally that when I came home, I said, honey, I think I finally found what I've been looking for in my financial life.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing for me on a personal note was that, I had three choices at that time. The first choice was to use the greatest ability that God has given human beings, which is to deny reality. So I could have denied that I saw something that I knew was right, and I could continue doing everything that I was doing, which was wrong.
Right.
The second choice was I just could have taken a gun and blown my brains out because, oh my God, I can't believe I've done everything wrong.
Yeah, well, that's exciting too.
That's not my favorite solution.
No,
but then the third solution, and it's the hardest solution, I believe, is to acknowledge reality.
Sure.
Acknowledge reality and say, hey, listen, I haven't done things right. And I haven't done things right for a long time. What do I need to do now? I need to change. And fortunately, I was able to change. And I am in a much better financial position because of that. And so is my family. So from a personal point of view, it's not only helped me personally in terms of understanding how money works and using money in a much more efficient, powerful fashion than I've ever done before, but also professionally, because what I do is I speak to agents all the time about how do you get in front of people? How do you talk to people? What do you say that makes people want to do business with you? How do you help them ultimately in their financial lives? And luckily for me, I have the opportunity to work with some of the great minds or the great rebels in the industry of, Nelson Nash and Infinite Banking, Don Blanton in Circle of Wealth, and Len Rainier in Wealth and Wisdom. utterly thrilled that I've been able to find that and continue to do what I do with a lot of passion, excitement, enthusiasm to talk about this and promote it.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a good key for you, too, is because you found this. You had that moment in your life. You said, hey, my God, I found it. And you knew it was right for you, it was good for you. Like you said, you didn't like that up and down in the market, and you didn't like that uncertainty. You wanted something that was different. You might not have known what it was, and then you found it. You said, oh, my God, this is it. Right?
Exactly.
And because you knew so strongly and believed so strongly of what it is, it led you down this road to where you are today, right? Where
correct.
You now have seen the positive results in your wealth, and you've decided now that, hey, this is so great. I need to get this out there. I need to help other people get it out there and help other people with it.
And that's exactly what my profession is.
Yeah.
So it's good to be able to get paid for that.
It is, right?
To talk about that.
You get paid for what what you love, what you're passionate about.
Yeah. I have to tell you, the funny thing was, I remember seeing Don Blanton many years ago. And I remember I was sent to one of his general workshops. And as I was sitting there and he's talking about all these, what he likes to talk about are wealth transfers and how money works in terms of your mortgage, paying taxes, saving for retirement, putting money away for your kids' education, making major capital purchases. I remember literally, paying attention, but, not paying attention when you're in a meeting. But as he was speaking, I kept feeling that my head was spinning, like the room was literally spinning. And luckily I had a chair with arms on it there that I felt like I had to hold on because I was being forced or compelled to think differently. And it's like I thought I was going to faint. I was getting dizzy because I kept thinking, like, what's he saying? What's he saying? No, is that true? No. But
I remember that feeling too. I had that feeling too.
It was like that first time I heard it, like the room began to spin. And obviously because it was attacking the basic things that I had been doing financially. And again, luckily, a few years later, I was able to listen and ultimately know that what I was listening to was correct and that what I was doing was wrong financially in my own life. And hey, I'm in a much better position because I was able to do that there.
Wow. Yeah. That's fantastic. So you had a certain career that you were going down a certain path just like everyone else. You were doing the same thing that everyone's doing because, hey, that's what you do, right? Because that's what everyone says you do. You hear that everywhere on the news, in the books, in the classrooms, everywhere. Everyone tells you to do the same thing. Put your money in the market and
exactly.
Whatever,
it's
right?
like, what's your risk tolerance? Like risk tolerance. Oh, risk. What do you mean by risk? Nobody ever says, "Hey, you know what risk is? You can lose all your money."
True.
That's true. Nobody ever says that. It's like, oh, here, let's just fill out this little form here and tell me if you're aggressive, moderate, or conservative.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, it's the idea when you have your money in the market and next thing you know, half of your money is disappeared and vanished. It's like, wow. When I was younger, I kept thinking, oh, I have years to make this up. But guess what? Who would even want to do that? I realize now that if I would have put my money in these dividend-paying whole life insurance policies with certainty and with guarantees, I would have been in an even better financial place than I am right now if I have started this early. And the crazy thing is, it wouldn't have taken that much money in the beginning to put money in and just use that as life insurance was always seen as almost like a forced savings account. Mm-hmm. People need to save money. You need to put money away in this life.
Sure, yeah. That takes a certain amount of discipline.
Do you want to buy something? Do you want to acquire something? What's that going to take? Well, that takes money. Right. Where's that going to come from?
Well, it either comes from your monthly cash flow, Or if it's beyond the capabilities of your monthly cash flow, it's what we call the major capital purchase.
Right.
So then you either have to take money from an account or you have to borrow money.
Right. So it's this idea of, if you think of any time you have to make a major capital purchase and you don't have the monthly cash flow for it, it has to come from somewhere else. So you either have to sell something in order to do that. You have to sell a stock, bond, mutual fund. You have to, if you think of your bank account, the dollars in your bank account as a product, you have to sell those dollars in order to have access to buy the things you want to do. And the problem is, it always comes down to this opportunity cost problems.
Right.
If you're going to, you're either going to pay interest to somebody else or you're going to give up earning interest. The idea of giving up earning interest is something that, the general public is just so totally unaware of.
Right. And that's not through their own fault. That's because
obviously
no one tells them.
Right. The financial institutions aren't responsible for educating you about how money works.
Right.
That's why it's great to, work now with individuals like you and Brian and all the other agents who are involved in the Infinite Banking Circle of Wealth and Wisdom, who have made it their life's mission to educate people how money works. We take people through an educational process.
Yeah.
I want them to create a lifelong cash flow, money management, savings, acquisition, protection, and wealth creation system. If we aren't doing that to help people, we're not doing our jobs. Yeah. People need money. We just need to be able to put money away.
Yeah.
And I'd rather save it than invest it. Investing takes risk. I don't like risk. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever liked risk.
Right.
But I was made to believe years ago, based on the different financial products that were available, not only in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, that taking risk was, hey, that was the thing to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right. I didn't understand until much later that, guess what? I don't have to do that in order to create that cash flow money system that would help me build my own wealth or provide me with the money I would need to buy, acquire, become something, or go somewhere, or do whatever I want to do in my life. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's
but you
it's
did
good.
discover it, which is that's
yes.
the good part.
if I didn't discover it, you and I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it.
This is true.
That would be the case.
This is true. I mean, we're talking about Wealth Tactic Rebels, and you have.
Yeah,
I guess you could call a rebellious streak, right?
I guess I always have. I don't want to get into that too much,
No.
But I think yes, I would say that rebellious streak was strong.
Yeah,
a long time
right.
in my personal life growing up. Hey, if anybody went to school and wasn't rebellious, it's going to be tough.
It's true. Yeah. So thank you for joining us today for this bonus behind-the-scenes episode with Martin Smith. And we'll have, of course, as always, our show notes page you can go to at wealthtacticrebels.com. And while you're there, you can download our free guide to the 3 key areas you could be losing money unknowingly and unnecessarily. Thanks for joining us today for the bonus episode with Martin Smith, VP of Security Mutual Life. And a big thank you to Marty as well. And hope you all have a fantastic day.
Want to really see things differently? Take our course, Ingenious Tactics 201, where we teach you all the wealth accumulating tactics with detailed real-life examples, screenshots, downloads, and a step-by-step guide to help you. See your progress with quizzes, a final, and a certificate of completion. For course details, visit wealthtacticrebels.com. Sign up today and start seeing things differently.
This presentation is intended as informational only. The information presented does not consider your particular financial objectives, risk tolerance, time horizon, or other unique circumstances and does not constitute a personalized recommendation or replace the advice of a financial, tax, or legal advisor or other qualified professionals. Do your own research and do not use the information of this presentation in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional. To the best of our ability, we provide content that is accurate as of the date of release. However, we give no assurance or guarantee regarding its accuracy, timeliness, completeness, or applicability. We assume no liability for the information of this and related presentations.